Hello there, Drew Hanish of Whiskey Lore, and it's time for another whiskey tasting. Today I'm getting a chance to taste a whiskey I've been wanting to try for a long time because it is a mashup of Islay whiskey and my favorite beer, Guinness. And it is a celebrity whiskey, as it has the name Nick Offerman on it. It is Lagavulin 11, Guinness cask finished. And so I got a little sample actually from Finnerty's 18 on Instagram, and so I appreciate that sample. And I asked him, where did this name Finnerty's 18 come from? And he said, well, if you watch the show Blue Bloods, that is the Scotch that they're drinking. It's a fictional brand. And I said, well, that's interesting. I guess I should watch that show. I haven't watched old Tom Selleck since he stopped sporting the old English D, as we like to call it, as Tiger fans. But anyway, this is a celebrity whiskey, and some people may go, okay, gimmick. No, I really do believe there is a love and a passion for whiskey behind this particular celebrity. Anybody that will sit in a chair by a fire for 16 hours, however long that video is, has to have some passion of some form, or he's getting paid a lot of money by Diageo, or I don't know what the heck the deal is there. But yeah, this is one I have really wanted to try for a while. Here is where I stand with Lagavulin. I like Lagavulin 8. I like Lagavulin 16, but I'm not as dreamy crazy about it as you guys are. To me, it's a refined whiskey, but it's getting past the peat smoke that I like so much. But still, good tasting whiskey with its own personality. 12 I've had, and I like 12. And in fact, I've said, probably in the range, I felt like 12 years might be the sweet spot for Lagavulin. But then I tried Lagavulin 9 Game of Thrones, and that started to challenge Laphroaig for one of my favorite Islay whiskeys, and I still to this day love it. So here's the hard part. I'm going to be judging this 11 against the 9, and I gotta tell you, I did actually take a little sample and tried both of them side by side to see which one I would enjoy more, and I was easily able to pick out the 11. So it made it, the 11 Guinness cask finish, because of a certain texture, which we'll get into as I do the tasting here, that set it apart and made me go, okay, yes, that is different, and it has obviously been finished in something other than ex-bourbon barrels. So let's jump right into this and do a little bit of nosing and tasting. This is 46% alcohol by volume, and right there on the nose, you get what you expect out of a Lagavulin and an Islay whiskey. You get kind of that bacon note. You get the sea, a little bit of that salty, medicinal character in there as well. There's some fruit that comes in here, but what I noticed between this and the 9 is this has less fruit to it than the 9. So the Guinness cask, apparently, or maybe just time in that cask, has kind of mellowed the fruit notes out a little bit on this versus that. The bacon note is really strong. Something else that comes in on this that I don't detect in the 9 is a minerally note, and it's actually a slightly off-putting acidic kind of a mineral note that pops in that I'm not a huge fan of, but it's everything else around it is doing so much good work that you really have to kind of look for it to throw you off at all. Cheers. the first thing I notice is that mouthfeel changes so much. There is like I call it like a marshmallow kind of it's almost like you got that foaminess of the Guinness in your mouth when you're tasting this. And I know there's no foam in this, and it may be power of suggestion that this is Guinness, but I do detect that difference of how it feels on the palate. And I think it also is that combination of adding in on top of like the apple flavor, the smoke flavor, all of a sudden you start getting this kind of cocoa flavor that pops in, and it goes all the way to the finish. There's a slight bitter to it, but not big, and the grain notes start coming through a little bit there on the finish. It actually doesn't linger very long. The finish is a little faster, and you're left with the memory of that smoke and brininess, but it really is not a overly long lasting whiskey beyond those notes. I'm going to go in for another. I have to be precious with this because this is all I have. So there will be no retakes on this video. The smoke's coming through a little bit more on the nose. More of that campfire kind of a smell coming in. With that bacon. The bacon is there. The minerally notes kind of disappeared, which is nice. And maybe it just takes a little more time in the glass. Yeah, it's much more of a comfort smoke kind of a smell now, which is much, much nicer. But really, any fruit notes are gone. I'm not really picking up any fruit notes in this at all. It really is. It's like what is that I'm tasting? It's almost like a Three Musketeers bar in a way. That kind of nougat kind of an experience that comes along with that chocolate that's in there, and then the smoke is there as well. Personally, I'm not sure that I am a big fan of stout beer, which is I love stout beer and I love Guinness. I don't know if for me and whiskey, it's the perfect combination. And I get why it is the perfect combination for a lot of people and why a lot of people love this particular whiskey. But having done the Jameson IPA, not putting that on the same level with this at all, no, don't get me wrong on that. But I feel like there's more potential in hoppy beer working with whiskey than stout beer working with whiskey, because I really didn't like the Jameson's CASK Mates Stout Edition that much either, and I've heard other people say they like that better than the IPA, so it's just down to personal preference, I think. I like this. I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers. I don't know where that saying came from. I laugh every time I hear it. No, this is a very good whiskey. It is a very good whiskey. Lagavulin is not doing anything wrong here at all by attempting to see how this marries with a Guinness. But for me, like I say, I probably would reach for my 9 again before I would go for this. I wish I could have 12 again so I could remember what that tasted like. I really did enjoy it the one time I had it, but to kind of do them all side by side would be cool. But I am so glad I had a chance to taste this, and because it's been a mystery to me for a long time, and I've really wanted to dive in, and I like it. But like I say, it's probably not the first thing I'm going to grab off the shelf. Have you had it? Do you like it? What do you think of stout versus IPA in terms of finishing in beer barrels? I'd really like to know. And go ahead and leave your comments below. Smash the like button if you would do so to help other people find these videos. And subscribe if you would like to see more of these videos down the road. And until next time, very little left to sip on there. Cheers and Slainte.